All right, welcome back, everyone. I hope you're doing well. So today we're going to do some blacktail deer scouting. It's the middle of winter. I had a viewer comment a couple videos ago just asking if I do any e-scouting, and the truth be told is I don't really. I mean, I guess I'll jump on Google Earth as much as anyone else and just have a look at the different mountains along the ranges, and if I see something I like, maybe I'll go check it out. But that's really the extent of it, and I don't really go beyond that. So I've been looking at this area for a little while now, just as a potential hunting zone, and I needed to get some boots on the ground and check it out. I did come in here not too long ago, a little bit further down. Didn't go very. I went high enough, but I didn't go quite that high. And man, there were some big droppings. So I've got a feeling that there's definitely a big buck wintering in here somewhere. But the mountain's a big place. So first thing I'm going to do is if I plan to hunt this in the fall, I'm honestly going to spend between now and then, maybe not every day, but often enough, I'm going to come in here and explore. I think today, like I said, I didn't go that high last time I was in here, but I'm going to try and go way higher today, as high as I can get with the time I have and what the snow allows me to do. And I didn't see that much sign from the bottom to as high as I went last time. So I don't know. Maybe the deer are way higher, right? So that's what I want to try and figure out today. Is I'm going to go really high until I start cutting tracks. Um, and if I can find tracks, I'll follow them, and maybe they'll lead me to some bedding areas. And then I'll probably drop a trail camera and just leave it there. I know it's middle of winter, and maybe the bucks aren't necessarily here during hunting season, but they might be, and they might be up higher rutting. So I just want to get familiar with this zone and just check it all out. And I'll leave a camera, and I think it's a bit early for their sheds to be dropping. So if I'm lucky, maybe I'll find a couple bucks still packing antlers and get them on camera. Um, but I'll always keep my eyes open for sheds. It's not too early to think that maybe a big buck's already shed. So eyes are going to be peeled for sheds as well. There's no reason to think I couldn't pick up, hard whites from last year or even old sheds. But that's all the sign I'm looking for, right? Is the big droppings, game trails, um, beds, and sheds. Obviously, fresh sheds are super useful and relevant, but if I can find old sheds, it still tells me that deer hanging out here year after year and dropping their antlers. So yeah, that's really it. I don't think there's any substitute for boots on the ground. You can use Google Earth and eScout. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think spending time in a zone and learning the terrain, learning where the deer hang out, what time of the year, and yeah, it's all valuable information. So keep that in the memory bank, and yeah, I'll probably keep coming in here. If I like what I see today, I'll come back closer to the spring and I'll really do some shed hunting. And then when I got nothing else going on in the summer, I'll just keep hiking and I can go higher because the snow will melt off and I can just get familiar with the area. And then late summer, I'll drop a few trail cameras in some zones that I've decided are good and deem a trail camera. And then it's go time. I'll just start checking those trail cameras into the fall. And yeah, once bucks start running by those trail cameras and I'm seeing sign, then it's go time. I'll start hunting it. But because I spent the time in advance learning this area and the terrain, I'm good to go for hunting season. I'll know where to hunt, how to approach it, which way the wind blows, at what time of the day, what my vantage points are, what the juicy zones are, where all the beds are, where they're hanging out and feeding. So yeah, that's all today is. We're just going to hike as high as I can, and we'll see what we can find. All right, so I've been hiking for about an hour now, and I'll tell you what, this terrain looks absolutely sick. Like, man, I am fully expecting to find some sheds up here, even if they're not fresh, maybe some older ones. But you know what, though? I'm not seeing a lot of deer sign. There's some droppings. They're not super fresh. Haven't seen any fresh rubs or anything like that, so I'll just keep going. I'm not very high. I got a ways to go if I want to get to the top of this, and or at least up to a elevation that I think maybe the deer are hanging out. So yeah, I'll just keep hiking, and if I find anything interesting, I will definitely pull the camera out. So you can see what I'm talking about. That's probably doe droppings. Not as big as the droppings I saw lower down the other day. But I'm trying to find zones like this. There's a bunch of them, right? So this is like a nice little bedding knob, right? You got the sun beating down on it and they'll just hang out here. I just got to keep going until, man, this just goes forever. The mountains are huge. And I mean, even you bite off a small portion, and man, you spend a lifetime hiking this stuff trying to find them. I mean, who's to say I'm not walking by sheds? It's just so vast. All this could hold sheds. So that's why you got to keep coming back, because there's no way in one day you're gonna scour everything and say 100% you've either found the sheds or you haven't. So today, like I said, is day one really of getting in here deep, and I just want to keep climbing and climbing and climbing until I find the pockets, because you will find the pockets. It'll be real obvious too, because there'll be fresh sign, there'll be fresh beds. Hopefully you can pick up some antlers. So, man, it's exciting when you find a new zone like this though. It's just like so perfect. And I have no idea if anybody hunts in here. I really don't. I mean, I haven't seen any sign of any humans up here. No flag and tape. No garbage, no nothing like that yet. But I've been surprised. I've hiked into some pretty gnarly stuff and found beer cans all the way up there, which it's always disappointing, but it blows my mind too that like somebody would hike that far just to drink some beer up there and then leave the garbage, which it's always disappointing when people do that. So anyways, going to keep powering straight up, and like I said, there's no end to this, so hopefully I can get into some good zones. So I just put the phone away and I started hiking up this little ridge, and there you go. It's a rub, maybe last year or sometime early last year. It doesn't look like it's pretty fresh, but it's not super fresh. So, but that's good. I'm just gonna keep making my way all the way up here, and maybe if I start linking a few rubs together, that's a good sign. Maybe it'll bring me into some good stuff. All right, so I'm just kind of making my way onto these bluffs over here. And this is probably the first, what I would say is a bed. So that's a positive. And you can see it's in and amongst all this old growth with more cliffy bluffs. So I think this is good. I just gotta look for fresh sign. Looks like the game trail goes that way. And just one tip that popped into my head too is, when you're doing something like this, whether you're just scouting or shed hunting, if you're going straight up like I am, I mean, I'm zigzagging a little bit, trying to cover all these bluffs to see what I can find. But when you drop back down, don't go exactly the same way you came up. There's no point. If you could pick a different line when you drop down, that's just twice the ground that you're going to cover, right? It doesn't have to be too far off to the side, but just make sure you pick a different line. Because there could be sheds sitting there, and there could be beds, and there could be bigger game trails, and you're never going to find them if you just go up and down the exact same route. So, like I said, don't be afraid. I would encourage you every single time is never go over your same tracks twice. Sure, maybe you missed something, but chances are you got a higher opportunity of finding something if you cover new ground. So yeah, definitely don't go down your same tracks and pick a new line every time. So I just came through here along this little cliff bend, and it might be hard to tell, but that's another bed right there. And I'm seeing a whole lot more sign droppings just at this elevation, but they look like all does and fawns, so doesn't mean much. But like I said, the sign's picked up the higher I go, so I'm just going to keep going and see where it leads me to. So you can see how this sign is picking up. So this is old, but that's for sure an older rub, definitely a few years old, but tells me that there's bucks rutting in here, possibly at this elevation. So I feel like I'm getting closer. I just can't believe I haven't stumbled on a shed yet. Like, this is just money. But antlers are small and the mountains are big, so who knows? There could be tons of sheds here, and me doing one line, one pass through it doesn't guarantee anything. But collecting data and yeah, just building a picture of what this place looks like. All right, well, I spotted this from a ways away. That, I believe, is a fresh rub from this year. Sorry, it's in the shade, so it's kind of hard to see and focus, but that's good. The only thing that's surprising is I'm seeing lots of droppings, but they don't look fresh. And there's so much snow here, I'm not seeing any fresh tracks. So I don't know what that tells me. Are they wintering lower down still? It just all looks so good. So I'll just keep powering up and see what we can get into. So just following this little bit of a game trail and look down and kind of hard to see from here, but there's a little fresh rub on that little stick down there. So this is bringing me into some pretty good looking stuff and some more cliffs. So let's keep going. Oh yeah. So I just popped out into some big open stuff, and first thing I see when I look down is a pretty big pile of droppings. And yeah, that's quite a bit bigger than the little stuff I've been finding earlier on. So man, this does look really good. Just gonna keep going. So that makes sense. Not far from where I just saw those big droppings is again, kind of hard to see on camera, but that's a significant game trail going straight up. So I think I'm in a promising spot. Just gonna keep following that trail and see where it leads me. All right, well, I figured I'd stop for a bite to eat. It's around lunchtime, and I'm surprised. Like, I have seen some fresh rubs, obviously, from this past fall, and seen that big pile of droppings back there, and that was pretty encouraging. But it seems like the higher I go, the less sign maybe I see. I can't even like see any fresh footprints in any of the snow patches. Just surprising. I don't know. Because I've never been on this mountain before. Just the other day, I was down lower just poking around and saw some big droppings and a fair amount of deer tracks. So I don't know, maybe they're just not up this high. Which doesn't make sense, because I found sheds on other mountains like really friggin' high. I found them really low too. I found my biggest set low down on a mountain. But I've probably found more bigger ones higher up. So I don't think you can really rule out what elevation that the big bucks are going to be hanging out on. But yeah, I don't know anything about this spot. I don't know where the deer are right now. I don't know, other than probably down a bit lower, possibly. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know when they show up here. I don't know when they leave. But that's all part of the scouting, right? So, I mean, I can't just base everything on this one hike. I'm going to have to, use it, today. I'll probably rule out the areas that I hiked in today. I don't think they were red hot or anything. So that doesn't mean, that just means that I got to cover new ground. So every time I come up here over the next little while, I'll pick new lines, and that's the point, a good reason to use a little GPS system on your phone or however you want to do it. But you want to like map your tracks, right? Because you want to like rule out areas. You want to know, where the hot spots were, maybe where you saw a concentration of tracks and rubs. If you're lucky, maybe where you picked up a handful of antlers, because I've found that on other mountains. Man, I hiked like maybe half a dozen times, like full days, never found anything. And then, one of my favorite spots, I just dropped into this zone that was just chocker block full of beds. And I picked up, 13 antlers that first day. And that was, a mix of old ones and like some fresher ones too. So, and one big one too. And I don't know what that tells me. I mean, are other people picking up the sheds? Are they not? Do the deer really just concentrate in a little pocket like that hard? Maybe. But yeah, I've harvested 2 deer out of that spot now. So, that's scouting paying off. And, shed hunting is part of scouting. You're learning the zones where they like to hang out, where they're comfortable, where they got good beds, good protection, good vantage point from predators. I haven't found any of that today. That doesn't mean anything. It's a good looking mountain, man. This terrain looks sweet. And I just got to keep grinding, just keep going. It's getting a bit steep though and snowy, so I just want to be mindful of that. I don't want to slip and fall off a cliff, kill myself, or more likely just twist an ankle or something. So you always got to be careful, especially when you're by yourself. It can happen fast, and then, maybe it's not a life or death situation, but it's a pain in the butt to get yourself off the mountain with a twisted ankle or something. So yeah, we'll just keep grinding. Maybe if I don't really find anything more interesting today, maybe I'll make this video up out of a few hikes in this area. That's probably a better way to do it, to kind of show you maybe a bit more real time how much hiking and investigating and spending time on a new mountain it takes to even find a productive area on that mountain. Because the deer got to be somewhere. They got to be up higher, they got to be down lower, maybe they're further across. I just got to figure out the elevation. I would say find the best, better terrain, but man, the terrain I've been in, that big old growth timber, and it's all cliffy and bluffy. It's all in the sun. It looks primo, like looks really good. So I can't imagine there's not a bunch of good deer running around here. At some point in the year, I just got to put in the time to find them. So yeah, that's it. That's so funny. So that's exactly where I just sat and ate lunch. Step over this log, fresh track, not terribly big or small. And then I look over here, and finally I've got some fresh tracks in the snow. Look at that. Sick. Looks like a couple of deer. They're going that way. So there you go. Finally starting to find some signage right beside me for like 15 minutes. Yes, I love it. Oh, I get so pumped. So I just ate lunch right there, hopped that log, saw those tracks. Sorry, you can't really see, but I just followed them over to the edge and they petered out and there was nothing else. There's no more real good patches of snow. So then I pulled a Yui and I came along here and I walked right up this little game trail. And I can't believe it's just sitting right there. There's a nice big fresh, I think it's a fresh shed, sitting right there under that tree. Ugh, I knew it. It just looked too good. And as soon as I found like the only set of fresh deer tracks I've seen this whole day, 2 seconds later, followed up by a nice big brown shed. I don't know what it is, so we'll walk up on it together, but this is why I do it. I love it, man. It's such an adrenaline rush when I lay eyes on a nice shed. Any shed for that matter, but a nice fresh one. I don't know if it's this year, but it kind of looks like it could be, so I'm super pumped. Let's check it out. Yeah, so you see my footprints. I backed up a couple. I went step, step, looked up, and I see it sitting right there. It's a pretty good looking antler. Yes. Well, maybe it's last year's. Yeah, it's last year's. But it's a nice big 4-point. Yes. Dude. So that's been sitting there since last year. That's awesome. I guess this is like a bed. Man, I am so lucky I spotted that. That's just random. Gonna have a quick look around. You never know, the other one might not be far away, so right on. My day just completely flipped. I am so pumped right now. I'm gonna do a pickup. All right. Dude, that's a good buck, yeah. Oh, fuck. No way. Look at that. That's a nice blacktail shed for sure. You know what? That's this year's antler. That has to be. That just dropped super early, and it's too bad. You can see where the squirrels got at it pretty early. Son of a gun. Got that one too, but man, that's got to be an early drop from this year. Like, it's a little bit dirty, but if they sit out for a year, they're dirtier than that. I would say that's an early drop from this year. So that's cool because that kind of lines up with my theory. And I don't think it's theory. I think it's pretty common that the bigger bucks and the bigger bulls, like elk and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure they drop first. Because I've been out elk shed hunting so many times that I've picked up big brown 6-points. And then like 2 months later, I still see the raghorns packing. So the big guys drop first. You know what? Now I'm sitting here. This is like for sure a bed. He just plopped it right there. That's awesome. Like, so that's cool that you guys got to see that all real time, right? So this is the first time I've ever hiked this mountain. And I didn't really see anything noteworthy. And then I just get up to this one bench, have my lunch, spot a track in the dirt, look up, see a bunch of, they weren't fresh tracks. They were pretty old, but they were from this winter. Followed them across for like 40 yards. They petered out for no good reason. I do a 180 and come this way, and there's nothing telling me to come up this way. I almost went up these steep rocky cliffs over there, but I just thought this looked a little bit easier. And man, that big buck was bedded right here. That's awesome. He was here this year. He dropped his big, fresh 4-point shed. That's just awesome. That's my first shed of 2026, so congratulations, Ryan. And it's a nice heavy brown. That is so cool. Man, it's just getting started now. I am fired up. For sure there's other sides on this in this zone somewhere, and I'm just gonna have to keep looking, look for other beds like this. And it's picture perfect, right? He's under this big old growth tree, sheltered. There's not too much like lichen falling on this particular one, but this is shelter right here, man. And it's probably enough feed around these other trees and calls this place home. So I'm not gonna go too far now. I'm gonna scour this area and see if I can match that up. That is a good, healthy, mature blacktail buck. That is awesome. Glad you guys are here to catch that all real time. I didn't think I was going to find anything today. So that's just how it goes, right? And it just, yeah, it's mind boggling that you even find them, because had I gone up over there, never would have found this shed, would have walked by it, probably found nothing else today, said this place sucks and never come back. But, you know, now I got a new spot. This is friggin' awesome, man. Couldn't be happier. Yes. And just like that, kind of hit like a pocket. Haven't found another antler, but there's another bed, man. There's actually a couple more beds in there. Just like I was saying, like you just got to find those spots, and not, you know, the whole mountain's not created equally necessarily. And like this is exactly where I'd expect to find another antler. There's a couple of them. There's one over there too. Yeah, you just got to keep going. Like this is only my first hike, and if I've run into a nice big brown like that and I'm finding these beds now, I feel like I found the right elevation, at least for the moment. And sorry, I'm all pumped up. I just keep looking around like I'm going to see another antler. So yeah, I just got to keep going, keep checking these beds, checking the game trails, look at what looks good and what a buck would want to spend his time in. And eventually, if you hit enough of those little spots, just like I just did, I just came up over that ridge and there's a brown antler just sitting there for anyone to pick up. You just got to cover the ground to find them. So, you know, here's sort of the thing, right? So I found that antler, spotted a couple more beds, checked them out. They look good. Not seeing anything. But you've got to just make a decision, right? Where he dropped his other antler, was it lower? Was it higher? Was it the same elevation, but just, you know, left or right? And that's just, you got to start gridding, right? Like you can't just leave the area. You got to like grid it out like a checkers board. And that's where your GPS app comes in really handy as well. Because I'm going to be, after I do this for an hour or two, I'll be able to go back and look at my tracks and look for those spaces in between my lines. And that's happened more often than not. I go to those little empty spots and there's a shed sitting there or a match to a shed I just picked up. So yeah, if he liked this and he wanted to spend the, you know, the harshest part of the winter in this area, there's no reason to think that his other side's not in here somewhere. So even if I don't find it today, I'll be back another day and I'll just continue to grid. You know, I may never find it, but I very well might. I might find it in 2 minutes. You just don't know, right? So you got to keep going. And I know this is turning into a bit of a shed hunting video now, but this also is just, you know, this is data for me. I know like there was a good buck that liked this area this year for some reason. And, you know, that's why I hope to pick up some older sheds, some older big sheds, because then I can start to reasonably assume that big bucks favor this area, this part of the mountain. One is good, two or a handful is even better. So yeah, I got my sights locked on this zone now, and I'm going to grid it out for the next little while, and I'll definitely be back. And that's how you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, right? And then come hunting season, who knows? Maybe they're not at this elevation, maybe they are. But you're not going to know that until you put the time and effort in, scouring your mountain, zeroing in on a little pocket. I think I just spotted another fresh rub, so I think I'm in a little bit of a zone here, so that's good. I'm going to keep going. So here, I figured I'd show you. I literally just hit stop on record, looked over and I spotted a second rub, so I'll flip it around and show you guys real time. So this isn't even the one I noticed, but I was standing even closer to it. So that's a little fresh rub from this fall. Come over here. And he's beating these ones up as well, right? So, man, things are looking good. All right, here we go. This is good. Just cut another similar age set of tracks. They're not fresh, but that antler also came off a little while ago. So this is good stuff, man. Definitely feel like I found a little bit of a pocket where the deer are hanging out. And, you know, the fact that there's not that many tracks maybe tells me that, you know, I think I saw 2 sets of tracks. So maybe it's just a big buck and a little buck hanging out in here. Who knows? But I'm excited now, and I feel like I've got a fair chance of matching this guy up and probably tripping over some other sheds if I spend enough time. Well, just like that, I bumped 2 or 3 deer right where in a spot where I just was. So, yeah, crazy, eh? They're just concentrated in a little spot like that. Because I was coming back here because that's the only place I saw any sign, although it wasn't fresh. And it's just under where I found that antler. And I got 1 trail camera left, and it's in my backpack. I got nothing else to do with it, so I think I'm going to throw it up here. I didn't see any antlers on those deer. I think maybe there's 3, but I definitely saw 2. They sort of bolted off, so they're down there. So that was my plan. I'm going to set this trail camera up here, and then I'm going to zigzag my way down until I get back somewhere close to my truck. So purely just for the fun of it, I just threw up that trail camera. Saw a few deer below, like I just said, so good a spot as any. And I know, you know, looks like antlers are already dropped or dropping, so you never know, I might catch a buck on that. But I'm just curious to see what the deer density is like up here, and you never know, could catch a predator, cougar, wolves, something walking by. It's always worth throwing up the camera. And yeah, I won't leave it up all summer, but seeing as how I'm coming back here shed hunting, I'll come check on it periodically and just see what else is running around in here. So there you go. I was standing up there, setting up the trail camera, and this is where those deer were. And looked like a couple does, if you ask me. That's what they look like. I didn't see any antlers. Yeah, maybe they're just making their way up here to bed, so maybe this is a half decent area that I'm gonna have to spend some more time in. See, I knew it. You just have to hike long enough and just explore enough. So big active bed, big active bed, another bed right there. And this is just what I can see from where I'm standing. So man, this is a hot spot. I think I see a big rub down there too. Well, there you go. There's another fresh rub. I have to say this place is working out quite well. Yeah, I think it's definitely somewhere I'm going to concentrate on before hunting season. And yeah, I'm sure I'll be back in here all spring now that I know they're wintering in here. And looks like there's some pretty big bucks in the area too. So no idea if they stay here all year, probably not. But yeah, just finding one of those big browns was totally worth it. So definitely going to invest in this spot. All right, so there you go. That's how I scout for blacktail deer in real time in one day. So that was pretty ideal, really. I mean, it started off pretty slow. I thought it was going to be a bit of a dud zone, and by the end, it was awesome. Like, picked up a big brown 4-point antler. That doesn't always happen, so temper your expectations on that, but it can. And the more you go into your zone and figure it out, the more antlers you will pick up. But yeah, like I said, started off slow. Went as high as I could into the snow line, and it just got too much snow and too deep and pretty steep, to be honest with you. And yeah, so I just had to stay below the snow line, started going laterally across the mountain, and yeah, it walked me right into that antler. It walked me into the tracks, got me into the zone where all the beds are, saw a couple deer. And yeah, when you like look at the GPS after the fact, like you can see I barely even scratched the surface of that area or that whole mountain. So I will absolutely be going back in there this spring and probably throughout the summer. And you know, I don't expect to see any big bucks those times of the year, but I left a trail camera just to see. You never know. I mean, there's probably some younger bucks still packing antlers, and you know, assuming the big ones have dropped. But we'll find out, right? Like, you leave a trail camera on a spot where there's lots of tracks, a game trail, and yeah, you get to see what's going on in there. You never know, you might pick up a predator or two, maybe catch a cougar on camera or a couple wolves or anything else. So it's still worth leaving a camera out there just to see the wildlife. But yeah, we got tons of snow coming next week, it looks like. So I think I'd be wise if I want to keep exploring that area to get back up in there as soon as I can. And like I said, like even on my hike down, I was like, oh my God, this stuff looks so good. There's probably more antlers. That's where I saw all the beds. So I can, pick up where I left off today, right? Go back in there tomorrow or the day after, whatever I feel like. And I'll get back up in there, and I'll as the snow melts into the spring, I can keep hiking higher and higher. And I guarantee I'm going to see more sign higher up as well. So yeah, that's just it. And you do that enough, you figure it out. Leave a few trail cameras, get an idea of what's going on in there, and then when the timing's right and during the rut, get in there and hunt, man. And like the time you put into it in advance, learning the area, it's going to pay off tenfold come hunting season, right? Because you're not just wandering through the woods anymore. You actually know where the beds are, you know where the bluffs are, you know where the game trails are running up and down. You know where, you found some antlers. So, I mean, obviously, the bucks may not be that low. I mean, given today, I was pretty high. So, I mean, I've seen in other hunt spots I like, some of the biggest antlers I find are up high. So, a lot of the little guys are down lower. So, but that's not to say anything really. My biggest antler set I found really low on a mountain. So, doesn't mean anything. But, yeah, I think it's good to go higher and just explore. And, yeah. That's it. So, I mean, that's scouting for me. It's just boots on the ground, get in there. And even if you've never been on the mountain before, who cares? Like, you never know. The best spot is still out there and you haven't found it yet. So you might as well spend your off season scouting and learning, right? You're going to know which mountains or which parts of the mountains are write-offs. And you're like, there's nothing good here. Like everything I hiked this morning, I'll probably never go back to. But everything I hiked this afternoon, I'm going to start there next time. And then I'll branch out, and eventually I'm going to learn where maybe not every hot spot is on a mountain, but I'm going to learn where a bunch of them are, and that's where I'm going to concentrate my efforts during hunting season. So, yeah, that's it. Get out there, get after it.